Currently coming off a great set at the now defunct Altus Brewery. Put your hands together for Levi Olson.
Keep going, guys. Keep going. I like this. We're done. I like this. Like now, drop ceremonial first pitch. So, I do consider myself, by the way, to be the luckiest man on the face. Just not Adam, that's fine. All right. So, as some of you may have figured out, there's only so many ways, as a balding white guy, to not look like a neo-Nazi. And so, the best system I came up with was to dress really nice and stay the fuck away from tiki torches. That's what Hey, you want to come over to my barbecue? No. You can come to mine. There will be no torches, or crosses for that matter, but no torches. We will all die of West Nile virus, and people will say nice things about us afterwards. That's how this is going to get out. So, okay, and don't worry, like, I'm from such a small town that when we had a Klan, they targeted Germans and Catholics. That's a real thing. Which just adds to the my theory that hate groups are really full of those coworkers we all have that put more effort into avoiding their work instead of just doing it in the first place. Right? I just told you there was a group of white people who, got dressed up and left their houses to go to a meeting and figure out a way to blame all of their problems on other white people. Instead of skipping the costumes and just being like, hi, I'm John and I'm an alcoholic. So I got Stitch Fix, is what I was getting at with that whole one at the beginning. I got Stitch Fix and I bought a hybrid because I want to look so gay that women feel like they've accomplished something when I hit on them. It's a little interesting. Sometimes I have some trouble seeing through my windshield on my hybrid though because my daughter thinks I don't know she vapes. So if anyone has teenagers at home and a bunch of glass that looks like it got wiped down with warm pepperoni, you need to have a talk. Which we had a talk recently. We had one of those new milestones that you have with your teenage daughter. We had the don't sell feet pics talk. Yeah. You got to sit your daughter down and you got to explain to her, listen, you do not sell pictures of your feet on the internet to strangers for less than a decent car payment. Okay, so let's try some new stuff. I got, like you said, I got the show to warm up for here. I haven't had time to really. You only get so far practicing at home, and then if you're like me, you got more people in the house and they walk in on you while you're practicing. And I'd rather they catch me masturbating because I don't have to explain that, Especially like here, most of you would just leave. Scott wouldn't, but most of you would. So, ghost story. I used to be in the National Guard. And there's, it's a little weird being a vet. Sometimes you get thank you for your service at Denny's, and sometimes you get called a baby killer at Planned Parenthood. But, whenever we weren't failing to find weapons of mass destruction, we would do our weekend drills, and that was in a great big old building that was built in the 1800s. So we had our main drill floor where you do everything, and then above the floor, there's a big long window with a hallway behind it, where all the office space was. And for decades, people have said they saw a soldier walking down that hallway when they knew that part of the building was empty. It's always wearing the current uniform somehow. I guess the ghosts are allowed to, draw a new one from supply. Apparently that's in the regs too. But the point is, I saw this thing too when it was wearing forest camo, and I figured out it was a private. I figured that part out because I ran up to the hallway and I listened, and I could actually hear it. Why do we have to wake up at 3 a.m. when we don't do shit until 7? Fuck this place! I'm gonna jack off in the bathroom! And that last line is how I figured out that it died by accidentally hanging itself. That dude knows way too much. So kids, we can all agree, like, so it sounds like we got some parents here, right?
Yep.
So, we can all agree, some people should not have children. And if you're like me, I had children with those people. I have 3 kids. I had 2 with my ex-wife, and then I enjoyed my divorce too much. Now, we, at one point, that makes 3 parents, and each of us had full custody of 1 child at one point. We were all trying to compete to see who the best parent was, because there can only be 1. And now they all live at my house. I'm never going to date again, which I should probably be happy about. But, yeah, so what I'm trying to do is get better at, parenting than my parents were. The thing that I've improved on the most has been the threats, right? When I'd be misbehaving as a kid, my mom would tell me, I hope you have a little boy just like you. Which is a stupid threat. I did. He's awesome. Even though he's never moving out of the house. What I started doing was going, you're going to have a little kid just like someone you divorced. That's a real threat. She's not moving out either. Again, some people shouldn't have kids, and that gives me the patented license to parent test everybody came out with over the last year. Mine's real short, okay? It's only 2 rules. If you think it's appropriate to wear animal print clothing in public as an adult, and you think everyone should use their own special way of spelling Mackenzie, sterilize yourself. I'm also glad if people don't sterilize themselves, that there is a system that we have in place to protect those children from the dangerous parents, whether it be mental health or drugs is a big one. I do question, however, the wisdom of that same system by default often giving those same kids to the grandparents as if they didn't cause the problem in the first place. Like, put that crack pipe down, Tom. Here you go, Betty. 3rd time's a charm. What the fuck? Alright, I'm gonna finish out a little bit stronger than that one. Alright, we do have at least one first responder in here. So for any of you who are not familiar with first responders, okay, you need to get used to the conversations. They're a little strange, okay? I had a guy tell me how excited he was about the new tourniquet he had just ordered. And at first I was like, man, can't you just choke yourself with a belt when you masturbate like a normal person? But he's a professional. Alright, guys.
Oh, I think the conversation is good.